Thank you, councillors. Thank you, staff members. Thank you, members of the public, those who are here with us, both in person and those who are joining online. Thank you very much. I declare this OCM open at 5:30. In doing so, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Noongar Wadandi people, and their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. We pay our respects to all members of the Aboriginal community and their culture, and to elders past, present and emerging. Thank you very much. There are some different faces around the room at the moment. Our CEO is away and our Director of Corporate and Community is away as well. So we have GM Georgia May in her seat, and Greg Galinsky, the Manager of Governance, is in the acting role next to me. Everyone else is here. David Ransom is here as well. Thank you, David. Declaration of interest, councillors. I've just received one from Councillor Steck, a declaration of interest. It is a proximity interest, so she will be leaving the room, and that's on item 10.3.4. Is there any other declarations of interest? Thank you. We have received public question time from Gwen Stapleton. Gwen, we did receive these questions. We haven't got formal responses here, but I'm more than happy for you to come and ask your questions. We will take them on notice. I'll try and answer them the best I can, but we'll have formal responses to you and in the minutes as well. But Gwen, are you here? You are here. Thanks, Gwen.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to ask these questions. Question 1. As Foodbank and Men's Shed jointly applied for location on Withers Community Library site and Foodbank has withdrawn its application, can we safely assume the Men's Shed has also withdrawn its application to be located on the site?
Yes.
We can safely assume that?
Again, we'll get a formal response, but my understanding is yes.
Okay. And can City of Bunbury guarantee that future applications by Men's Shed to be housed in Withers will not result in potential closure of Withers Community Library?
Again, we'll get a formal response, but I can't make a prediction on what a future council may or may not do, but we'll provide a formal response for that.
Okay. And does City of Bunbury have the heart and the will to protect Withers Library from future risk of closure?
So the current council resolution on there tonight deals with that item, so this council will determine that. Again, I can't make any guarantees about any future councils or any future council decisions, but we'll get that formal responses to you, which will also be in the minutes for next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
We have the minutes of the OCM there for 7.11. Somebody happy to move they are true and correct? Thank you, Councillor Quain. Second, Councillor Kozisek. Thank you. I'll put that. Those in favour, please indicate. That's carried. Thank you. The minutes of the Council Advisory Committees, the CEO Performance Review and the Audit Committee, we have the committee recommendations that, that's just to note that those are correct. Somebody happy to move that? Thank you, Councillor Quain. Someone's happy to second that? Councillor Steele. Likely to be any debate on this, councillors? Thank you. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? One against. That's carried. Thank you. So, councillors, we do have 3 deputations, which are in front of me there, for those 3 ladies to deputise on item 10.3.4. I'll put that we accept that. Those in favour? That's carried. Thank you. When we get to your item, which we will pull that item out first, we will call you for your deputations at that time. Thank you. So dealing with the agenda item tonight, could I please have that? Thank you. Coming out for discussion is item 10.3.3, which requires an absolute majority, and 10.3.4, which is the petition report. They're the only 2 items I have for discussion at the moment. Is there any others for elected members? Everything else okay? Thank you. If that's the case, happy to move the remainder carried on block. Somebody happy to move that? Thank you, Councillor Kostek. And a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Quain. Put that. Those in favour, please indicate. That's carried. Thank you. So those items are carried. So as I indicated, we will deal with item 10.3.4 first. And we do have the 3 deputations there. We're now dealing with the item, sorry, Councillor Steck, so I think you have to, and I'll just get some governance advice on that, but I believe once the item is started, we'll have to ask you to leave. Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Steck. So I'll ask you to leave the room. Thank you. I'm open to whoever would like to go first. I can go in the list order I have in front of me if you'd like, but I do have Betty McCleary here on this list. Jodie first? Yep. Thanks, Jodie. So just for those who haven't been here for deputations before, just the rules around deputation. You obviously have 10 minutes. It's not a Q&A position. It's just your chance to raise your points, and then we'll consider those during debate. Thanks, Jodie.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you to the Mayor and Councillors for approving my request to do a deputation in support of the Withers Community Library. My name is Jodie Lark and I am a Withers resident of 11 years. Our library is the centre of our community. It is not just a place for books. It is a place where people can meet, connect and build relationships. It is our town hall and it has been the heart of Withers for 40 years. The reason given for making the decision to transition to the library to another service is reduced visitation. However, when citing this as a reason, the Council has neglected to mention that the library closed during COVID-19 in 2020 and was only reopened at reduced hours 9 to 1 on weekdays, which means anyone who works or goes to school can't go to the library. They also failed to reinstate any of the pre-existing programs or activities. The Australian Early Development Census recognises that Withers and Usher have a much higher percentage of children who are developmentally vulnerable across all 5 domains compared to Bunbury, state and national averages. And I encourage you to look at the website to see those statistics. These children need access to early literacy and after-school programs. I work in health, and many of you will be familiar with the social determinants of health. Some of the social determinants that can be improved by localised library services are education, employment, social inclusion, early childhood development, transport and distance from services. Having a community centre such as the library in walking distance to the community it serves is absolutely essential. I believe strongly in building community and the power of a deep connected community. When functioning well, our library enables this. Imagine a place where there are programs for parents and children that run most days, a place to access resources in languages other than English, a place with exercise classes for seniors, space to create and craft, adult literacy classes in the evening, a place for people to use the internet and be supported to apply for jobs, a place for kids to go and do their homework, and a place for book clubs to meet and have a coffee. We already have that place. We just need it to be fully opened, activated and invested in. Closing our library or keeping it as it is with reduced hours and no programs will further disadvantage an already disadvantaged community. Please don't do that. Please take this opportunity for immediate action. Rescind the motion 10.3.2 with transition of services and restore the community's trust and confidence in the future of our library. Please move to reopen the library properly and commence delivering relevant activities and programs to support and empower our community to connect, learn and grow together. Thank you.
Thank you. Martine?
Sir, thank you. Good evening all. My name is Martine Combray. I'm a South Bunbury ratepayer. My husband and I have been using the Weaver Library for 17 years. I wish to address Council tonight on point 3 of the agenda item 10.34, which reads, that any further determination relating to extending the opening hours, servicing or resourcing of the Weavers Library will need to be considered as part of the city's future budget processes. This clause looks like yet another hurdle put across the path of the reinstatement of normal operations at the Weavers Library. The extension of opening hours, servicing and resourcing do not depend solely on extra funding being allocated specifically to the Weavers Library. Let's look at the current funding for the Weavers Library. According to the City of Bunbury Annual Budget 24-25, the total operating cost for library and learning is $1,937,662 per annum, or 2.36% of the City Hall operating budget. Then, in the minute of the Council Ordinary Meeting dated 10 of December 24, we find the operating cost of the Weavers Library to be $275,000. $275,000 is equivalent to 0.3% of the city total operating cost, but it is also only 14% of the total library and learning operating cost. So 1.9 million for both libraries and 275,000 only for Weavers. Why is the Weavers Library only allocated such a small portion of the total library budget? Most likely because of the very simplistic, centralized, and somewhat convenient management model currently used to deliver the library services. In this model, the Parkfield Street site is considered as the main library at the top end of town, while the Weavers site is left underutilized because of an alleged lack of patronage. Each site appears to function in isolation rather than in synergy. For example, a workshop was recently advertised at the Parkfield Street Library to offer hearing aids checks. Why wasn't the same workshop also advertised in Weavers at a different date, giving the opportunity to more people to access this useful service? I doubt if this workshop was run and delivered by library staff. With the Parkfield Street site often overcrowded, why aren't more of this type of workshop replicated in Weavers to reach out to more Bunbury residents? The use of both buildings will be optimized by adopting a more coordinated and inclusive management model, one based on the principle that Bunbury has one library service delivered at two locations, like other councils. Another easy way to increase patronage at the Weavers site is to encourage existing groups, such as book clubs or craft groups, to use it. Members of these groups drive to Parkfield Street and could just as easily drive to Weavers. Unfortunately, many groups meet in the afternoon when the Weavers site is shut. Others are simply unaware there is a facility in Weavers available for use. And let's not forget that the Weavers Library is also a member of the Southwest Library Consortium, which allows patrons to use their library card across 26 libraries. As such, it deserves more attention than what has been provided in recent times. Community members and library patrons are tired of hearing about budget, operational, or staff constraints as excuses to keep the current status quo of services in Weavers. They expect visible results, not merely vague undertakings from managers eager to streamline their operations. Point 3 of the agenda item 10.34 is unwarranted. There is no need to wait for budget processes, as innovative steps that do not warrant a big budget can be put in place immediately to provide our community with a functional, user-friendly library in Weavers. In summary, what am I expecting from the council and executives? Well, I hope the council and the city executives will take the following steps to secure the future of the Weavers Library. Step 1, resign the whole text of the motion 10.32, transition of services, Weavers Community Library, adopted on the 10th of December 24, to eliminate any risk of the building being repurposed at any time council or executives decide to do so. Step 2, promote a more innovative and creative vision for the delivery of services across both sites. Step 3, rebalance the funding fairly between the two sites. Step 4, secure sustainable overall funding for libraries in future expenditure budget. Step 5, direct the team of city officers who had recommended the closure of the library on the 10th of December 24 to A, adopt a can-do attitude to focus their attention, expertise and energy on finding solutions to deliver services that meet community expectation, and B, better coordinate the delivery of services across the two sites to optimize the financial and human resources available, and C, implement without delay simple steps that do not warrant a big budget, such as reopening in the afternoons, to kickstart the revival process of the Weavers Library. Thank you, councillors, for listening to my deputation. I think, perhaps naively, that as elected member, you care about our community and that you'll do the right thing. A mistake was made on December 10, 2024. That happens, no one is perfect. Now is your chance to fix it, so we can all look forward to a brighter future for the Weavers Community Library. And before to finish, I will add something a bit more personal to that statement. When I go to the Parkfield Library, there are all the mod cons one can expect to find in a library. The staff is very helpful, there are ample resources and so on. But I feel like I'm entering a supermarket. When I go to Weavers, which is smaller and currently under-resourced, I feel like I am at the library. The place is welcoming, humanized, he has personality, character, and at the risk of sounding daft, I would say has a soul. The decision to close it created such an uproar because people feel connected to this facility, which has quietly stood there for 40 years on the flank of that little hill surrounded by bushland. Please don't destroy this. You'll never be able to replicate it anywhere else. On December 10, 24, you signed the death sentence of the Weavers Library. Don't keep it on death row forever. Please revoke the motion 10.3.2 in its entirety and reactivate the operation at the Weavers Library so we can all move on. Thank you.
Thank you. I thought it was still running from the time. Thank you. And Betty.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and good evening everyone and councillors for approving my request to present my deputation in regards to 10.3.4 Petition Report, Transition of Services, Withers Community Library, Closure of the Library. My name is Betty McCleary and I live at 15 Hayhere Crescent, Bunbury, just a stone's throw from the Withers Library. In 2009 until around 2012, I was a volunteer hostess, fairy godmother. Even then I figured I was too old to be a fairy. At the Withers Library, delivering a combination of rhyme time and story reading to babies, toddlers, young children and their carers. Our average attendance was around 15 to 20 children plus adults. The program I provided was my own creation and was very well received by the staff and participants. I feel humbled when occasionally a young adult will approach me and let me know they love joining Fairy Godmother's Rhyme Time. They go on to tell me about themselves, what they're doing and what their dreams are for the future. It is such a privilege to know they trust that I valued them then and still do today. Parents have also approached me and talked about how that was a special time for them and their children. Putting time and effort into our young is so worthwhile. What I'm alluding to is the importance of the free service and programs that are delivered by our library staff and hosts. It is a loud, resounding shout out to the community that the local community are valued, are welcome to the library to enjoy, learn and socialise. State and local governments are financial partners in delivering appropriate services and programs, including training for staff. Library staff and the resources they deliver should never be put on the line owing to budget funding shortages. Their funding should be a priority in the budget. I feel that the City of Bunbury have underestimated the importance to community of the role of libraries, especially Withers Library. It is a community hub, a learning, a resource for information, recreational reading and more. And it is free to all those who wish to walk through their doors, regardless of where they live. However, over the years, be it by design or budget constraints by the City of Bunbury, Withers Library has been allowed to wither. The community most needing this service have ended up with an empty shell of a library because of the reduction of operating hours with no hands-on services or programs available. People were saddened and somewhat perplexed, but trusted the city was working in their best interest, so they gradually accepted without voicing their dissatisfaction and tried to work around the reduced hours available. It was not working, and the people stopped attending. Why didn't the community speak up? I believe in the beginning, when the reduction of hours was implemented permanently, the community was not consulted, and because everyone knows Withers. The assumption being they won't bother to complain, they're not really interested, they don't care, want or deserve the opportunity for the resources, education and other self-help services that the library delivers. Transitioning is a great word to use instead of closing in our suburb. It really confused a lot of people, including councillors. Or some have told us it was not their intention to close the library. Well, if that was the assumption, you were wrong. We care. The city advertised that there was to be a public meeting on the 16th of January 2025 to discuss the transitioning of Withers Library. But then for those attending to find out it was a done deal between the city and Food Bank, Withers Library to close on the 25th of April 2025, transitioning being a sweeter word to use than closing, the large group had their breath taken away, losing the library without competent consultation and due diligence. Are you for real? Within days, the community rose up in protest. Over 1,400 signatures on the petition for councillors to rescind the motion, plus 200 people have registered on our Facebook page, all calling in unison. We want that decision of council rescinded tonight, please. There is only 3,000 people in Withers, so that number of people valuing the Withers Library is huge. Elected members, perhaps one should take stock and listen and act accordingly to the community's voice. I ask no more pretty words, Mayor and councillors, or manipulation of sentences with double meanings. We have been blindsided and confused enough. We will not go away quietly, accepting half a deal that may have us doing the protesting all over again in a couple of years when new staff or councillors newly elected wish to revisit the library for closure. If this is your wish to regain our trust and confidence for decisions made in the past and for the future, please listen to your community now and take positive action. And note that anyone to suggest as an amendment that Food Bank WA has withdrawn their proposal as such, the Withers Community Library services will return to the status quo as point 4 of council decision which effectively rescinds 1 and 2 is an incorrect amendment and assumption. When you voted on the 10th of December 2024, you endorsed 1 and 2. Point 4 was just an added on proposal. Mayor and councillors, stand with your community on this important issue. Rescind the complete motion 10.3.2 adopted on the 10th of December 2024, transition of services Withers Community Library. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you for those deputations. So, councillors, we have an executive recommendation in front of us. Is somebody, we'll get this on the table first, somebody happy to move that motion? Deputy Mayor?
Foreshadow that I have a couple of amendments as well, once this is on the
Sure.
table.
Happy to second. Councillor Smith, would you like to foreshadow what those amendments are, and we'll see if we can deal with them
Certainly,
through this
Mr. Mayor.
process?
At point 3, added that the CEO and the CEO will represent a report to council within 3 rounds of meetings detailing the operational and resourcing needs and impacts related to returning the Withers Community Library to pre-COVID service levels. That's one amendment. The next amendment is point 4. This would be added after point 3. This means the council's decision of 268/24 on 10th of December 2024 is rescinded.
Thank you. So that point 2, council, I'm guessing, just that minute taker, so you wouldn't need that part if you're suggesting part 4, I'm suggesting. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
So just for the minute taker, yeah, thanks. I'll leave you to that for a second. What I'll just do, I'll just get this on and I'll just confirm from a government's point of view. My view is this doesn't significantly change the executive recommendation, so it can be taken as an amendment rather than alternative. That doesn't sound very good.
Dealing with that as an amendment, given that the premise of the recommendation and the motion now is to note the information.
Sure.
So I don't see a problem with that.
So the seconder, are you comfortable with those additions as the seconder? Sure. And just for those who are aware of that, if you're making a significant change to a council, to an executive recommendation, it's dealt with an alternative motion and you have to vote down a motion. So this is effectively saying that given that it's the same intent, we can take that as the motion if the mover and the seconder are happy with that, which we can do with that. Is that correct? Or you still need to vote them in as an amendment first, but if the mover and seconder are happy? Thank you.
That would be perfectly fine to do
Thank
in
you.
that
So,
manner, Mayor.
thank you. Right. Before we enter into debate, is there any questions, councillors? Councillor Gassett?
Mr Mayor, I'd like to ask a question that if I would like to move a rescission motion and not make it conditional as before is, how can we do that if we get support? It's taken out this means.
So, have you got any wording there, councillor Gassett?
Yeah, just remove in item 4 there, this means. That council's decision
Okay.
268/24 on December be rescinded, full stop.
I don't believe there's any issues with that. That's fine. If the mover and if the mover and seconder are happy with that suggestion, councillor Gassett, move it. So they're just moving "this means," the words "this means" out of that last bit. Mover,
Yes.
seconder, no problems. I'll get rid of that as well. Yeah. Sure.
Don't need that.
I think we were just leaving it, well, that's fine anyway. how it was, just remove the word that. I think that's fine, that's the intent. Mover and seconder are satisfied, I mean, yeah, that or that, either or other, I think it's, sure. Okay, if the mover and seconder are happy with that, then we can continue with this as the recommendation. Any questions on that, councillors? And then I'm happy to move into debate. Deputy Mayor. This is really
Thank you,
annoying.
Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, you and I, since you've been the Mayor and I've been your deputy, we've often discussed how we never set out to upset or cause concern to our ratepayers and citizens. We never make assumptions about our citizens. We respect them and regard
We're back live. So anyone who's joining us online, apologies for that. We're having some technical issues with our brand new system. You won't hear it online, but we've got a pretty nasty buzzing noise going on here. But we're going to continue because we need to get through this. So to recap, we have moved and seconded this amended motion in front of us, and I'll ask the Deputy Mayor to start her debate again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. How far did I get before that?
I'd start again.
I caused the mics to go off. As I said before, Mr Mayor, you and I have often discussed in the nearly 4 years that you've been the Mayor and I've been your deputy, that we've never set out to upset or cause concern to our ratepayers and citizens. And we never make assumptions about them. We value them and we respect our ratepayers and citizens. Hopefully tonight we can assure the Withers community that we've listened and will not be closing the library. Hopefully we can look forward to a new beginning with the Withers Library and the Withers community, with new progress and different programs and different opening hours. And I look forward to that happening. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Steele.
Just want to turn yours off, you never know what. Thank you. Thank you, and I appreciate everybody coming. And I just wanted to say that when I added points 3 and 4 back in December, it wasn't just an added-on proposal. It was so our community could have their say, so we could stand up and listen to what them. And I hope that you all realise that that's what we're all here for. And I have been such a big champion of our Withers Library that, in fact, back in 2021, when the hours were reduced, I sent an email at the time when I received an email from a ratepayer called Lachlan Kelly. And I still have those emails, I've got the receipts. So he wanted us to address the closing of the library hours. I sent an email through, and unfortunately at that time I wasn't supported by any of the councillors past or present to have these hours reinstated. So I'm glad that we're back here again. It's 4 years too late in my opinion, because I do think that our Withers Library should have some opening hours in the afternoon. I have always supported that, and I always will, because I do think that our Withers Library is a very integral part to our community, and I hopefully that once we look at part 3, and it will come back, and we will have a couple of afternoons or even a Saturday morning. So people that can't make it into town through whatever means, that they do have a library that they're able to access after hours. And I appreciate everything that our community has done, and I appreciate Councillor Smith for bringing in our amendments as well.
Thank you, Councillor Steele. Is there any speaker against this motion? If that's the case, I'll put the motion. Those in favour, please indicate. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Steck. Again, as always, you're welcome to stay. We have a couple of items to go. This noise is getting to me, so it might be getting to you guys as well. So I might give a couple of moments if you'd like to go, but you're more than welcome to stay. If you are going to stay and have a chat, again, if I could just ask if you do that in the courtyard, as the noise really does come through here from in the foyer, but I'll give it just a couple of moments if you'd like to. It's shocking, isn't it? Right. Yeah. What's that? Oh. Not sure. He's meant to request, yeah. Can't do anything about it. I know what it means, though. Thank you. Okay, 10.3.3, councillors, is the budget review. This does require an absolute majority. Is there somebody happy to move that? Thank you, Councillor Andrew. Second to Councillor Quain. Likely to be any debate on this, councillors? On this, yes, absolutely. Councillor Steck, some questions?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm just wondering, on page 16 of 27, PR 5400, Enterprise Resource Planning System Scope and Implementation, and it's for 165,000. What is that?
I can refer through to governance. I'm not sure if we have an answer, maybe Mr Ransom, but we might have to take that on notice, Councillor Steck, and I'm assuming we may have to take several of these questions on notice, but if Mr Ransom does have an answer now, if not, I would prefer to get an informed response. Take it on notice. Thank you, Councillor Steck.
Thank you. I wanted to ask the question on the PR 5095, 12 of 27, the Bicentennial Square Precinct Plan. It's currently, as written here, in stage 3, review and refinement. But I've had several community people asking, when will further community consultation occur? Because a lot of people have not had any input. So when will that occur, sir? I guess that will be on notice too.
We might be able to provide an answer to that now. I'm happy to take on notice if we can't, but through governance to Mr McRobert.
Point of order, we're talking about actual, so that might be a question that we need to have, because it's actually, this is to do with the actual budget.
Yeah.
Not actually what's going to be occurring.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the only, I'll take the project is in the budget review, so it is there, so it'd be relevant to that, but it's a fair point. I will take that question to suggest where we're advertising, but I would probably suggest that in terms of not getting into debate about in particular projects, and I'll probably take that on notice, but the question around advertising, given that it's talking about a project item. Thanks, Councillor Steele, and thank you, Director. We can get a response.
Can I respond?
Yeah, thank you.
Through you, Mayor. So we have had a period of consultation.
Sorry, Director, you do have to stand for formalities.
We have had a period of consultation seeking comments from the public and ideas. From that, we've had 3 options that were prepared, and we've presented those to the elected members in the strategic briefing. We're going through those submissions at the moment, and there will be further consultation to be undertaken.
Yep. So the short answer is there will be further consultation, Councillor Steck, in that project. Thank you.
Another question, this is on page 20 of 27, PR 4299 Bunbury Brighter campaign. There is 102,393 in the budget. There, under the project progress comments, it says, planning underway for a summer destination campaign targeting the Perth market. Who decided that we're only going to target the Perth market?
Taken on notice, councillor Steck.
Okay, well, the other one is on the same page, PR 5157, Role Clarity and Performance Framework. There's $90,000 for that. What is that? Don't employees get a job description?
Sorry, point of order, Mr Mayor. Are we on the right agenda item?
No. I think some of them have been.
This is budget review.
This is talking about some of the projects within the budget review. What I would suggest, councillor Steck, is these questions can certainly be dealt with. I'm just trying to bring that up now where you're actually at. But none of these questions we can take. We're probably going to have to take most of these questions on notice. We did have the budget review workshop, and I know you were an apology last week, but we can also arrange to have that further conversation if you'd like any clarity on those things, councillor Steck.
I'll put the questions in writing, sir.
Thank you, councillor Steck. Is there likely to be any debate on this item? I'll put that. Those in favour, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. We go to some requests for leave. Councillor Ramesh, somebody happy to move that? Councillor Steele, seconded. Councillor Nodden, all at once? Yeah, no, I don't think we can, sorry. Yeah, they're all different. Councillor Steele, seconded by Councillor Brown. I'll put that. Those in favour, that is carried. Thank you. Councillor Turner, somebody happy to move that? Councillor Quain, seconded by Councillor Brown. Those in favour, please indicate. Councillor Gassett, somebody move that. Councillor Steele, seconder. Councillor Quain. Those in favour, please indicate. Those against, that's carried. Thank you. That is those. I have received a note that there would be a couple of questions. We haven't received notice on these, but Councillor Steck, probably will be taken on notice, but we'll try our best.
Just that I'm not sure whether you had 3 or 4 FTEs for the purpose of cleaning the CBD. Can you recall, was it 3 or 4?
Yeah, I think we can get an answer for that. I'm getting a note of 3, but I think that full commencing is starting from the 26th of March.
Yeah.
So it hasn't quite started yet, but it will be very shortly.
I've had several community people ask that the CBD be cleaned.
Sure.
Especially with pigeons, poop and
Sure.
stuff.
So 26th of March is when that full program will be kicking off.
26th of March. Okay, thank you. And the other question that I've had from a community member was a copy of this report dated of July of last year. Has the council received a copy of the McKenzie Group report in relation to the Speedway?
I'll have to take that on notice, Councillor Steck.
Okay, because in this report there are safety issues. So
Sure.
maybe I'll give a copy to the council?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We do have one item to deal with, which is confidential in nature. Somebody happy to move that we move behind closed doors? Councillor Andrews, second by Councillor Quain. I'll put that. Those in favour, please indicate. Thank you. We'll move behind closed doors. We'll Back online. Minute taker, Liam, we're back online as well. Thank you. Thank you for those who've rejoined us. While we're behind closed doors, Council, moved by Councillor Kozisek and seconded by Councillor Smith, voted that Council endorse a remuneration increase of 4% for the CEO backdated the 1st of July 2024. That was carried 9 votes to 1. Thank you. I declare this meeting closed at 6:18. Thank you all very much for your attendance. Thank you.